Welcome to Dramatically and Instantly Improve Your Communication Skills Right Now, a mini webinar brought to you by the Human Development Center and me, Phil D'Agostino, at managebeyondtheordinary.com. Let us help your group go from really good to truly great. Today we're going to discuss how to immediately and dramatically improve your communication right now through several methods, but primarily through the use of what I call behavioral language. And by behavioral language, I mean speaking in terms that the listener can understand without interpretation, metaphors, verbs of being, or fishing through your subcontext meanings dropped as hints by the use of adjectives and adverbs. If you are a subscriber to the V-Motivator, then this is also part 3 of the 6 Questions to Focus and Get More Done series. If it's been a while since you've heard the 6 questions to focus, or if you've missed the questions entirely, let's review them for just a minute. The 6 questions to focus and get more done when dealing with other people or a problem on your own are: Question number 1. What is actually going on described in the behavioral language that we'll be talking about in just a minute? Question 2. Why is this a problem? Remember, only if we know why what's going on is a problem can we then know what the real problem is and what to fix. Question number 3, what do I or the other parties want instead? Remember, in PS or problem solving, that the onus is on the onus, or that the onus, the weight of the responsibility for coming up with a solution, needs to be on the onus, or the OWNIS, the one who needs it solved. Question number 4 is what I or the other parties want instead possible or reasonable? We must be careful not to put possible in air quotes. I'm talking about really possible in the real world of where we work. And by reasonable, I mean reasonable in light of the costs of time, money, and emotional outlay. Question number 5. What's the plan to achieve it? And question number 6, how will I know I got there, or what are the criteria for measuring success and when to stop working on it? If you want to see that video so that you can see all 6 questions, please visit the link shown at the bottom of this slide. There are many things that a person can do to improve their communication skill, many things. But the very first and most important thing to do is to get your message clearly understood in your own mind. When you're talking to a friend or a family member, it's more okay to sort through and think out loud. But if you're a supervisor, a boss, a coworker, or if you're having a real and ongoing issue with a family member or a friend, it's very important to know what you want to say before you say it. Now, that's not to say that I think you should have a script. Although for some, it isn't a bad idea to start with. After all, when you think about it, you kind of script in your own mind what you're going to say for a job interview or some other important meeting that you might have. So starting with a script isn't a bad idea sometimes. But what I'm talking about now is that you've carefully and clearly gone over the issue in your own mind, and you know what you want to say and what outcome you want. Did you hear that? And what outcome you want. If you're taking notes, write this down. To get the best result from any intercourse with another person, ask yourself this important question. What do I want as a result of this interaction? I'll repeat that so if you're just listening, you don't have to go back. Here's that question again. What do I want as a result from this interaction? Of course, it's impossible to predict with absoluteness what result you'll get, but you'll come a lot closer to your desired result if you know what it is and then plan how to get it. Then, of course, you have to properly execute the plan, but you have to have a plan, and that plan is always dependent on what outcome you're trying to create. Now, already, if you just do that and nothing else, that is, to ask yourself what outcome you want and plan on it, you will already dramatically improve your communication skill. But let's go on and do even more. In parts 1 and 2 of the 6 questions to focus and get more done, I suggested that you use behavioral language. And by behavioral language, I mean to describe whatever you're talking about without metaphors, interpretations, verbs of being, adjectives, and adverbs that aren't necessary to describe what's going on. Let's drop into a classroom and listen to an excerpt to understand what I mean when I say without metaphors.
Many times people will come to you and will say, she's treating me like I'm some kind of a moron. Now, you really don't have any idea what happened. Not at all. All you know is that this person standing in front of you really doesn't like what it is the person they're talking about did. And they have a belief that that means that they think less of them. Listen carefully now. They have a belief that that party thinks less of this person standing in front of you than this person wants them to, or thinks they should, or must. Now, you understand that bothers them, okay? You see them upset. But the question is there something that needs to be fixed, or is this person just having a bad moment and an emotional response to something they don't like? Well, to focus on that, what we need to do is we need to strip all that stuff out. So as a manager, supervisor, or mom or dad, or husband or wife, or whatever it is, if you're trying to be useful and helpful, what you would then do is you would say, okay, I can see this is very upsetting to you. What exactly did she say to you? Okay, they say, she treated me like I'm some kind of a moron. Okay, well, that means that person said or did something. That's what you need to understand. When you say that person treated you like a moron, what exactly did they say? What did they do? So you can get really very concerned about it, but the bottom line is, in the back of your brain, you're kind of scratching it and you're, thinking to yourself, okay, something happened here and I have no clue what it is, but before we get started, I need to start focusing. Remember, the 6 questions are to help focus and get more done. So that person...
So as you can see, the point is to be very clear about what you're talking about and stay focused on the problem and solution and not on the person. Focusing on the problem and solution and not the person. Or, and this one will get you in a lot of trouble as well, focusing on the way someone says something. Have you ever heard that one before, maybe even coming out of your own mouth? It's not what you said, it's how you said it. That is a certain communication killer. Remember, we're here to improve your communication. So you want to stay focused on the problem and solution and not on the person or the way they're communicating with you. Remember this about metaphors. The main reason people use metaphors is that they're trying to convey, listen very carefully to this one, they're trying to convey what happened means to them and not what happened. I'll repeat that. They are trying to convey what happened means to them and not what actually happened. And going in that direction is a sure way to be distracted and taken off course to a desired outcome. Realistically, though, some people use metaphors because they just don't have a better way to describe what did happen. Metaphors are used all the time, and many of us have no training to practice to strip out the facts and convey them as strict, observed actions. But now that you're watching this, you do have that training or knowledge. The people you're working with may not have seen this program, and they don't. So you want to stay focused on the problem and the solution. Now, what goes along with that is that most of us already have attached meaning to what we've seen or heard. And our description winds up being more of a recitation of what we believe it means than a retelling of the actual facts of what really did happen. This is what I call interpretive language. You want to stay away from interpretive language. Let's go back to the classroom and listen to this short excerpt for what I mean by interpretive language.
This person is now saying, she just wants, she just thinks, he just that. As soon as you hear the word just, you know you're into interpretive land. So you want to stay focused. You say, well, okay, what did they say that leads you to think that way? See that? what did they do that leads you to think or believe that? See, now we're getting back again into the actual essence of what took place rather than what they think about what took place.
Again, it's always a matter of getting back to what someone said or did and not allow the speaker to remain in their own version of it by telling you what they think about it. Now, a lot of people at this point would say, so the feelings don't matter, you're cold-blooded, you're trying to only focus on the facts, and this person is feeling something. Listen, we're going to get back to the feelings at some other point. Right now, though, we're trying to focus, get more accomplished, and improve our communication skills. Remember, question number 2, we asked, what is it about what's going on that makes it a problem? Right there is a great way to open up a conversation about the feelings part of this. But for now, what we want to do is stay focused like a cold-blooded shark on just the facts. The next pitfall in communicating is misusing verbs of being. Verbs of being would include am, is, are, was, were, and being. They're absolutely critical in a lot of what we say, but they are almost always a distraction from describing an event. Rarely do we find a problem from the very existence of someone or something. I say rarely because we all know someone whose existence alone is an irritation, don't we? But all kidding aside, let's take a listen as I describe what I mean by the misuse, not the use, but the misuse of verbs of being.
When you use verbs of being, am, is, are, was, were, you are now attributing certain characteristics to something and you're no longer explaining what happened. So you got to stay away from that kind of thing. Am, is, are, was, were, and being. She was just being. He was just being a real jackass, or whatever you want to call it, name a body part, for example, he was just being a real elbow or some other body part. And it just really, you see, again, when you do that, you realize you are no longer explaining the conditions of what happened. You are only talking about what it means to you. And we got to get past that right now.
Finally, we want to focus on the use of embellishments or modifiers. It's very easy to use adjectives and adverbs to embellish our description of events. Words like hastily or hurriedly, angrily, nastily, arrogantly, and the list is as long as the dictionary, all contribute to making statements rather than clearly stating the simple facts of the matter. For that reason, it is important to limit your use of these embellishments to those necessary to describe what did happen. The subconscious mind is a very sneaky thing. When we get an attached meaning and we're upset about something, it's very difficult to just tell somebody what's going on without sneakily throwing in some kind of little this and that to dig at the person that you're upset with. So we want to be very, very careful about using modifiers only as needed to describe the actions that took place. The advantages to using behavioral language in all arenas of communication are that then you can apply whatever other instruments or techniques you want to sell an idea, find a solution to a problem, or simply give a clear-minded opinion about an important issue. And there's another one. The more people see you as a person who stays out of the feelings realm and in the thinking realm instead, the more they're going to believe that you're a person they can work with. If a person thinks that about you, they're going to be more open-minded to what you have to say, and that in itself allows you to become a better communicator all by itself. Use these simple steps to focus your interactions more, and you will instantly and dramatically improve your communication skill right now. Well, that's it, and I appreciate your listening. Remember, I'm Phil D'Agostino, and you can reach me at phil@managebeyondtheordinary.com or call me at 919-341-8431 here in Raleigh, North Carolina. I want to help you and your team reach the next level of really good to truly great. So until next time, goodbye for now, and have a truly positive day.